Okay, well, welcome everyone. And do we have any announcements tonight?
No announcements this evening.
Okay, public to be heard on agenda items only. Okay, moving right into presentations tonight. Dr. Siggins, our principal, along with staff and student representatives, will present an overview of the 8th grade Center's Avidum Club.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thanks for having us tonight. We have a number of student leaders and one of our co-sponsors for our Avidum Club that we offer in the 8th grade center. One of our goals is to provide students with as many social, emotional learning opportunities as possible, and this is one of the avenues that we choose to do that. With that being said, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Ms. Cooper.
Because I'm happy.
Where am I? I am happy, but we're going to wait on that one. I'm Cindy Cooper, one of the 8th grade school counselors. I am also an Avidum advisor at the middle school level. As you may or may not know, Avidum is a club that was adopted a few years ago here in Springford. We are told that Avidum comes from Latin roots, and it means I've got your back. It was created by students in a Lancaster school after they lost a classmate and friend to suicide. Avidum plays a big role here at the high school level, empowering youth to shatter the silence surrounding depression, suicide, and other mental health issues facing teens. At the middle school level, our focus is a little different. Research suggests that many of the core issues affecting children and adolescents relate back to perceived deficits in 4 areas: acceptance, appreciation, acknowledgement, and caring. Avidum has helped us to understand that in order to truly create healthy school communities, our schools must become places where students authentically feel accepted, appreciated, acknowledged, and cared for. Tonight, we have some of our 8th grade club leaders here to share a little bit about Avidum and what this club looks like at the 7th and 8th grade levels, and how the club helps to promote and inspire a culture of care, advocacy, and how our meetings become a place of planning, implementation, team building, leadership development, and fun.
Hi, my name is Bella Butler, and I'm an Avidum leader. One of the 4 pillars of Avidum is acceptance. Acceptance means that we accept everyone for who they are. This club is for everyone. Avidum holds a meeting every month for all students to come. At the meetings, we play fun games and have a good time with everyone. When you walk into the meetings, the environment is just exquisite. All the leaders greet you with a smile on their face as you're walking through the doors. Then we play music and have snacks and wait for everyone to arrive. In every meeting, we always want to get a message across. Last meeting, we had the message of confronting someone in the hallways, and we collected as a group and decided that this is a bad idea. So, you can always talk to a trusted adult or your guidance counselor to handle the situation. Next, we move into our activities. And what happens with this is that we break into random groups and rotate stations with different interactive activities with everyone. And we mix up the groups to get everyone a chance to talk to someone that they haven't really talked to this year and meet someone new. This shows that you're accepting to be in a group with others that you really don't know and have a fun time. Finally, we wrap up the meetings with our last discussion about what we learned in the meeting and how we can improve our school and community with that. I feel accepted knowing that when I have a bad day, my friends are there to support me and stand by me. Avidum, this is the content Avidum wants to get across and that we're trying to impact our school with. Avidum accepts everyone, all staff, students, community members, and everyone. Avidum has got your back.
Good evening. My name is Tegan O'Day, and I am another one of the Avidum leaders at the Springford 8th grade center. The Avidum Club emphasizes 4 different pillars. One of these pillars includes appreciation. Personally, this club has made me feel appreciated every time I'm with them. The Avidum Club exhibits many of the methods that display this gratitude to everyone in our school environment. This club has worked very hard to demonstrate our appreciation to all students and staff at the Springford Area School District on a daily basis. Avidum exemplifies appreciation in many different ways. For example, a project we are currently working on is handwriting letters to policemen and women, EMTs, and our local firefighters. This shows our deep admiration for all the incredibly important work these people do for our community. In addition, the Avidum Club held a breakfast for the reading teachers before the school day had begun. This expresses our recognition of the hard work and effort put forth by the reading department. These are just a few examples of appreciation modeled weekly by the Avidum Club at the Springford Area School District.
Hi, my name is Josie, and I'm an 8th grade Avidum leader. Acknowledge is one of the 4 pillars of Avidum. When you acknowledge someone, you show them that they matter. That is our main goal, to show each and every individual in this school that they are important and they are essential to the school community. By acknowledging someone, it can boost self-confidence. It can also create a sense of belonging in them throughout their day. Acknowledging classmates and faculty members, we can create a more positive school environment. Avidum isn't just another school club. It's a family. Everyone is welcome here. We have each other's backs and we work together to spread kindness and positivity throughout our school community. We acknowledge students and faculty members in multiple ways during the school year. We send candy canes and came in on a Saturday to handwrite personal holiday messages to every single student and teacher in the building. We go into school early to greet students at the door. Simply smiling in the hallway can make someone's day better. Even at our meetings, we acknowledge everyone by welcoming each and every person with a high five and a hello. There are many ways to acknowledge people around you. Acknowledgement is a crucial pillar to our VM family because it is one of the ways someone can start or continue to make school an environment that students and staff want to be in.
My name is Nathan Carrasquillo, and I'm one of the 8th grade Avidum leaders. Another pillar of Avidum is care. Caring is essential in our school community. Caring makes students and staff members' days feel better and feel valued. We work to do random acts of kindness to show our care. In one of our monthly Avidum activities, in small groups, we discussed and brainstormed how we can show care to others, care to our friends, our parents and siblings, our community, and most importantly, care to ourselves. At another activity last year, we made stress balls for our teachers and gave them little bags of chocolate to show them that we cared. Avidum truly cares for the school environment and every person in it, and we work to show that. One of the ways I show care is staying involved, attending meetings, and making videos just like the one you are about to watch. This video is from the past 2 years of our club.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. Come break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me
Hi, my name is Brady Seislove, and I am an Avidum leader. In closing our presentation tonight, we would like to thank Dr. Gooden, Mr. Rizzo, and the school board for supporting the Avidum Club in our district. The valuable experiences we receive when going to our trainings and workshops is an important piece to keeping this club alive and growing, and we are thankful that you support and approve them. As you are aware now, Avidum is an active club at the high school and middle school levels, and we hope someday soon Little Avidum will develop into the intermediate and elementary school levels so that the Avidum message spans across our entire district. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Siggins. One of the things that I've recognized is that the Avidum Club fills a gap for us in our social emotional learning continuum, and we're very appreciative of all the work that you guys do to make other students feel welcome and part of our school. And so I thank you. And did you know that Mr. Rigner at the high school years ago brought us the Avidum idea? And he really did a lot of work at the high school to get that going. And so we appreciate his work. But thank you, boys and girls, and we appreciate all that you do.
And thank you for our notes.
Great, that was a great presentation, and Dr. Gooden's words and comments on that were very noteworthy too, because that program has probably done a lot more good than any one of us could know. You have no idea if a smile or a kind word, how that impacts somebody and changes their whole day. So that's, kudos to them for keeping that program going. Next, we have our second presentation this evening with the recognition of Seth Jones and the Springford Area High School Golden Ram Marching Band for their most recent appearance, competition, and performance at the 2019 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia.
A little loud. Good evening. Good evening, board and community members and band members. I have the distinct honor, as having lived the world of being a band director, to introduce an exceptional young man and group of students for quite an accomplishment. As you all know, on December 26th, early December 26th, students left for Atlanta, Georgia to perform in many musical events associated with the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And I would like to introduce Mr. Seth Jones and some of his students to come and talk about that. I think they took 1 or 2 awards through that event, so we're going to talk about that as well. Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Yes, and I can say that Mr. Rizzo knew it was early because he had to drop off his kids at 3 a.m. that morning. So hi, Mr. Jones, I'm the high school band director, and we're just I have some students here that are gonna talk mostly about our experience, but we did, in December, take the entire marching band program to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. It was the BCS National Semifinal game. We performed as part of its band festival that was down there. One of my duties since I've been here, since 2012, is to expand the universe by which our band program lives. And what I mean by that is growing what we do outside of our school district, outside of our area, outside of our state. So when I started to look for an experience that I wanted to put together for our program, I kind of looked for some criteria as we're continually expanding the universe of our band program. We just built a new facility. Thank you to our school board for that and making sure that happened. With the help of Heidi Rockland in our curriculum office, we're rewriting the music department curriculum right now and adapting our band curriculum to grow with our students. We have been doing extensive change in our leadership structure of how our students function within the band program and what we're doing to propel that forward. So when I came to the thought of I want to do a big trip, I wanted to do a trip that can incorporate everybody. I wanted to incorporate a trip that's growing on the national level because our program is competing on the national level in the marching band world, and so it seemed fitting. And about 1.5 years ago, I applied to the Peach Bowl committee to bring our band down there. And we were accepted with a couple other bands. And what they do is we were involved in events pertaining to the game. We are part of game day. We were there at the game, and I had some students to talk about that. And then they did a band festival for all the bands that were down there, and our students got to interact with those students, which is pretty cool. And then we just did some general getting to see the world of Atlanta. So I have 3 students to talk about the different aspects. We have a whole bunch of students here with us tonight from our band program, which is awesome. A lot of them are actually in Winter Garden. We're in our percussion rehearsal. So I'm going to start with Nicole because she has to get back to winter percussion rehearsal. But I have Nicole Irwin here, who is one of our drum majors field commanders. Chris Barr, who is a junior and one of our drum majors field commanders. And then we have Ryan Henkels. Here's a junior who's going to talk about some stuff because Ryan was individually awarded a medal when we were down there for his individual performance. So we're going to start with Nicole. Come on up, Nicole.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Irwin and I'm one of the drum majors for the Golden Ram Marching Band. I'm a senior, and a few weeks ago we took a trip down to Atlanta to participate in events concerning the Peach Bowl. And on the first day we took about an 18-hour bus ride down to Atlanta, and on the way there we stopped at Medieval Times. Medieval Times is a place where it's like a dinner and a show. So we ate dinner there, but we had to use our hands, and we also watched a show, and it was really cool. It had horses and swords. And so then the next day, we participated in a thing called a mass band rehearsal, and there we practiced with about 4 other bands, and we practiced in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There they grouped us into a large group where we were organized in our sections. So I was with the drum majors, and it was really cool getting to talk to the other people because they were really nice and they were really supportive of us. And it was just a really cool experience to hear like what it sounded like to perform with that many people in one location. So yeah, and then the other events that we did was we went to the game, the Peach Bowl, and it was really cool to be able to be there in like a live game surrounded by like thousands of people. And it was really cool to get to see the Oklahoma band and the LSU band. And another thing we did down there was we went to the World of Coke Museum, and there we got to see a little bit of the history of Coke. And we got to taste a lot of different Cokes from around the world. And we also went to the Atlanta Aquarium, and there we got to see a bunch of animals. That was really cool. And we got to spend a lot of time with our friends, which is really fun. And we also got to like do what we love with music in a really cool way. And then another thing that we did there was we went to the Olympic Park, and we got to see the Olympic rings with the fountains. And yeah, it was just a really cool experience overall, and I'm really glad that I got to do this as a senior and my last trip with the band. So yeah.
And then to talk about our festival events where our students were performed and adjudicated, I have Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Barr. I'm a junior, and I am the drum major for the Springford Marching Band. I'm here to talk a little bit about our performances and what we did while we were down in Atlanta. On the first full day that we were there, we had our stadium performance where we performed at the Mercedes-Benz Dome. And I just have to say that was the coolest experience I've ever had in my entire life. Just the echo and the sound that we were able to hear while we were in that stadium was unlike anything else I had experienced before. I can't even fathom being in that kind of headspace just in my life again. Another thing that we experienced was the parade. We got to participate in the parade actually, and hundreds, maybe even thousands of people were crowding the streets, packing them, so that they could see our band and the other bands that were there, including OU's band and LSU's band. And they were so just excited to be there, and it made our whole band completely invigorated. We were so excited to perform in front of all these people. And it was just a really cool experience overall. The next thing that we did was, at the next day, we were able to perform our concert band music. And we had been practicing it for a little bit before. We performed it at our winter concert. And it was also a really exciting experience. We performed really well with our whole band there. And we were able to be mentored, actually, by these extremely well-known musicians and these collegiate-level performers that were able to tell us like how we were doing and coach us through our music, just to get a better standpoint on how to perform as musicians and as people overall. And lastly, I am in the jazz band that we performed in. So I play tenor sax, and we were able to perform in front of these same judges. And the same thing happened where a really cool collegiate level musician was able to talk to us about how to perform, how to be a better jazz musician overall. And I think I can say on behalf of the entire band that this was one of the greatest experiences of our entire life, and I would 100% do it again, no doubt. Thank you.
So it was really cool that the Peach Bowl committee sets up these events for the kids to perform at in their own right, so they can see the kids at their best. The Peach Bowl is actually the only bowl game in the country that allows the marching band's use of the stadium and performance time before the game, and that's because the CEO of Chick-fil-A was in high school marching band and still plays the trumpet to this day, and so he very much values the band experience at games. Many of the big bowl games don't allow the bands in the stadium at all prior to the games. Even the college bands aren't allowed in. So the Chick-fil-A Bowl is a very band-friendly bowl, which I really appreciated. And so with all of these events, there were judges and community members from the Peach Bowl that were evaluating our group. So we had kind of an award ceremony, and I'm going to have Ryan talk through all of that. Like I said, Ryan was individually awarded a medal for his performance down there. In solos, he got his own little plaque or something, right? What did they give you? Yeah. They gave him a frame. So that was pretty cool. So Ryan, come on down.
Hello, my name is Ryan Hinkles. I am a junior French horn player here at Springford. I'm here to talk about the award ceremony. So Springford took home a grand total of 11 awards, and it was a very nice event. It was semi-formal, and they had really kind service there. They treated everybody like they actually mattered, which most events don't. And we competed in Category 3 at the 10-12 band. We had the jazz band perform, we had a parade, we had the concert band and the field show. And in the 10-12 band, we actually took home first in all of the categories for jazz, parade, concert, and field show. And 3 of those, we won the Grand Champion Award, which is out of like all the bands that were there, we were considered the best ones, and that would be in the jazz band, the parade, and in the concert band. And our 9th grade concert band performed in the open class and took first place in their division. There were 2 other awards. As Mr. Jones mentioned, I won a soloist award, but another fellow musician, AJ Renalia, won a saxophone soloist award for jazz band. And then our saxophone section for jazz band also won an award together as a group. After the awards were presented to everybody, they released all the bands together on the dance floor. We all started to socialize and make friends with people who lived all around the country. It was a very great and redeeming experience. There was another high school band there. They were called Worlington High School, and they made us a banner. And it was specific just for our band. Even after the awards, they came over and took a picture with us. We are truly grateful for the experience that Box 5 Events provided us and the opportunity to perform as an event as big as the Peach Bowl.
So can I just have, if you're a student here and you went with us to Atlanta, could you please stand so we could recognize all of you? We have a lot, like I said, a lot of our students in rehearsal. It was grades 9 through 12. We also took 30 parents with us as official chaperones. Mrs. Huntington from the 7th grade center served as our trip nurse and coordinated medications for all of our students, which is a feat in itself. And it was just a really wonderful time. I'm really grateful that we were able to do it. The weather was 70 degrees every day. It was perfect. And there was Chick-fil-A everywhere. So that was kind of cool. But thank you once again to our school board. A lot of the decisions you make enable us to be creative and be inventive and expand the universe by which our kids live in every day. So thank you so much.
And Mr. Jones, this was the first time that you had gone to the Peach Bowl? First time?
Yeah.
And will you be applying to do that again?
I'd like to. I'd like to try something else. You know, like if we can get use, I want to start using the new athletic center and do like something like the Rose Bowl, because that's a 7-mile parade. So we'd have to like seriously get the kids on their running machines to do a 7-mile parade. But like something like that would be fun to do next, you know. But this was a great event. I would absolutely go back.
It's amazing that's the first time and you had all those awards. I mean, it is amazing and it's not, because we know how great you are and we value you and appreciate you. So we value the Spring-Ford Band too.
No,
So
I appreciate
you know
that. Thank you so much.
Did you bring a picture along of all the awards or no?
There's one on the social media world for sure. I know it's out there.
And you went down with 30 parents. How many came back?
All 30 came back, yeah. The hardest part was finding space for all the trophies, actually, because most of the trophies are the size of this podium, so they took up their own bus seats.
Well, I think that, you know, the entire time you were down there and all the posting on social media, and then as you were winning the awards, the pictures that were being shared, and I think that the Spring-Ford community at large was extremely proud of all the accomplishments of what you guys were able to achieve down there. And I heard that they're going to rename all the Peach Streets to Ram Street now.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. No, I think that was the magical thing about a trip experience like this as well is, you know, our band program does a lot, and if you're in the band world, you know the things that we do are pretty incredible, but just to be saying that we got to be at that game was pretty awesome in the first place, you know, like, just to see a team like LSU play, and for our kids to see like, hey, if you go to a Division I school like LSU and you play in a band, not only do you get scholarship money to play at a place like that, but B, like, this is your weekend, like every weekend, you know. Mrs. Melton can attest because her son is very involved at Ohio State, but like, that's what they get to do every weekend, and for our kids to see that is pretty incredible, you know.
You definitely made, you know, an impact when you were down there, and you guys, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of awards. Was there any other awards that you didn't win, or did you guys clean house?
No, hilariously enough, we did not win the Field Show Award because we did not march our show. I did not feel like taking all 16 of our trees to Atlanta with us. And, you know, an NFL stadium, we use wireless microphones for our marching band productions and to worry about all of the frequencies. And I didn't want to rehearse with the band on the parking lot in December, candidly. So we just decided to do a standstill of it. And so since we didn't march, we couldn't win the Field Show Award. But we probably would have, candidly, but that stays between our community.
Well, that was, again, great job. And I mean, this thing keeps going up. You definitely made the Spring-Ford community, you know, very proud of and it's a great way to end the season out, you know, for a marching band season. So great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seth, I love all the things that you do with the kids. You know, you continue to amaze with the experiences that you provide to our students, and, you know, from giving them an opportunity to see what it's like to be in a D1 band kind of a thing, and even a collegiate band, regardless, you know, D1 or one of the big four or whatever. It's just, you know, but also to experience the Olympic Park and to, you know, have the competitions and the aquarium and to give them those opportunities. I can't thank you enough. You have, you know, since you came to Spring-Ford, continued to just up the ante, you know, with giving those experiences. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Jones, as a token of our appreciation, we'd like to present you with a commendation, and the commendation reads, the Spring-Ford Board of School Directors awards this certificate of commendation to the Spring-Ford Area High School Golden Ram Marching Band in recognition of exceptional effort and success in the appearance, competition, and performance at the 2019 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Congratulations to you, your students, and your parents.
Thank you.
There you go. I think we have to go over here for a big picture.
All right, well, thanks and congratulations again for everything. Thank you. And Dr. Gooden is stepping up to the mic.
Thank you, Colleen. January is Board Member Recognition Month. And so this is our opportunity on behalf of the school district, on behalf of administration, on behalf of our students, and on behalf of our community to thank our volunteers who come in and serve to provide governance and oversight to our school system. And we thank you, and we recognize that you spend many hours through the month, each month, coming to committee meetings, fielding concerns, answering phone calls from constituents, and we appreciate all that you do. We also appreciate your continued support on behalf of our programs, and you've had two mentions tonight, the Avidum Club and our marching band. We recognize that without the support of our school board, many of the things that we provide for our students would not be possible, and so we just like to take a little bit of time to recognize you and thank you. We have, first of all, I believe we have a little thank you video that we put together. We had some students put together. Do we have this?
Thank you, School Board, for the Scene Shop here at Springford and the opportunities it's going to bring the musical and theater program.
Thank you, Springford School Board, for giving us this wonderful new band room.
Thank you to the school board for allowing us for this great opportunity.
Thank you, School Board, for this awesome gym. So excited to use it.
I'd like to thank the school board for allowing this expansion to happen. It's been really great already.
Thank you, board. This room is awesome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, school board. This is incredible.
The whole section over there is new. We got a section over there. We got some sandbags. We got medicine balls. We got all that. Just help the team get stronger and better every day.
Sometimes we could not finish shots or something like that, but now we can do throws, finishing shots. We got so much more space to do at least anything we want, really.
The expansion has really affected me in helping me get around the school between lunches and classes with more room to get places. Just having the facilities so much nicer, the lockers for one thing, and just the space and the sound system, all these together really makes a program that we feel it can grow with us as we grow as an ensemble musically. I think that this band room reflects the pride that we all have in this program.
It's made our lives so much easier. We function a lot smoother. It's just made everything more cleaner and more functional, more operational. I started this program as a freshman 2 years ago, so I really got to see the entire expansion happen.
It's really given us a space to build our sets here on Saturdays. In the mornings we'll have parents come in along with stage crew members and cast members, and now we can build it here in our studio shop instead of back on the stage. It's going to attract more of those stage crew and cast members to come be a part of that aspect of the program, less about putting on the show but helping set up our awesome sets and things like that.
There wasn't much space, so when the whole team tried to go in, it was really crowded. And now we have so much space and everyone can get what they want done, and there's so much more to do. I think it'll help a team as a whole and the rest of our program be stronger to just be able to compete harder against the other teams.
I feel like we're working through workouts a lot smoother. Everything's going a lot faster. We got a lot more room and a lot more opportunity to lift. We don't have to wait in between sets. We can just go right through it.
Thank you, School Board.
Thank you to the school board.
Thank you, School Board.
I'd like to thank the school board.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, school board. This is incredible.
Thank you, Springford School Board.
I would like to thank the school board and the community for all of the support throughout the expansion.
We had said back about 3 years ago, I know that for those of you that were on the board, certainly Mr. DeBello remembers this, that we recognized that, and the video did highlight the expansion project, but we knew it was going to have a significant impact upon our programs. And we believe that's bearing fruit, and I think it will continue to bear fruit over the years. And so I know that our students were very happy to thank the board for stepping out and doing something like this for the students. So certainly I want to echo that thanks on behalf of the students, and I know that they appreciate the opportunities that we have throughout the district that we've provided through the school board. So we thank you. We also have something else for you. We had our students, and they did little cards in which they thanked individual board members. And so each of you will get a picture done by a student, and it is specific to you, in which our students are thanking you for all that you've done. As those are coming around, could I prevail upon one of our board members to tell the audience what's on their framed photo? Just, yeah, push the button. Yeah.
Mine says, "Thank you for books."
Thank you for all the school buildings, iPad, Chromebooks, smart boards, and more. We really appreciate all of it.
Aw. Anybody else want to share? Okay.
Mine's beautiful. And it says, "Dear Dr. Wright, thank you for," oh, wait a minute. "Everything you have done so far." Wow. It's been a few weeks, but yeah. And we all appreciate it very much. You and your partners have created such nice school buildings and given us the best teachers in the world. We are thankful you are part of the school building. That's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Dear Ms. Earl, thank you for the nurse's office.
The nurse's office. Okay. Anybody else?
This is a great catch-all. Thank you for police officers, after-school activities, school lunch options, teachers, nice school buildings, sports, books and curriculum, iPads, Chromebooks, smart books. Thank you so much. That's a big, long list.
Okay. Anybody else?
Dear Mr. Jackson, thank you for what you and Mr. DeBello do for the board. Thank you very much. Dear Mr. Jackson, thank you for the new band room. We really appreciate it. Also, thank you for volunteering your time to make Springford a great place to live and learn. Thank you.
Mine says, "Thank you for hiring my dad and allow us to come to an awesome school district."
Does it really?
No. It says, "Thank you for all the nice school buildings, sports, iPads, Chromebooks, and so much more. We all really appreciate your hard work for our school. Thank you so much. Go Springford."
Okay. Anybody else?
It's a great idea, by the way. It says, "Dear Mr. Schaefer, thank you for the computers, the smart board," and that is that's this side. Looks like Microsoft had something to do with this. And then on the back it says, "Thank you for a computer and robot." So that's perfectly stated.
Very good. Did we get everybody?
I have thank you for Ms. Walsh, a specific teacher, and for computers on the back. So teachers and computers.
Okay, very good. Once again, on behalf of our students and on behalf of our staff, administration, and our community, thank you for your service on behalf of the school of the Springford School District. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gooden, and I'll just reiterate what was said a little bit earlier tonight when we were appreciated by the administration as well. And one of the comments that I made then was that behind every strong or successful school board is a strong administrative team, is a strong faculty, is a strong student body, parent, communities, and superintendent and assistant superintendent. So thanks to all of you also. All right, so moving on from there, our board and committee reports, and we can start with our student rep report.
So this is our December and January student report.
Okay, what happened in December 2019? We had winter concerts, holiday festivities, winter break, and our winter keystones.
In January, we had our midterm exams for the 8th grade and our high school. We had talent shows, a bunch of food drives, book fairs for the elementary schools. Quarter 2 ended on Friday, and quarter 3 started today.
What's coming up? So we have the Great Kindness Challenge, food drives, report cards, which will be available on February 5th at 4 p.m., National School Counselors Week, VEX Robotics Competition, Self-Care Night run by the Avidum Club. So we had the exact same video in our report. We just wanted to thank the board. We won't make you sit through it again. You obviously already saw it. But we just want to take this time on behalf of the students and the community to thank the board for everything they do for us. And I just wanted to say everyone loves the expansion. So thank you especially for that. We loved it.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm glad that's worked out so well. Definitely Mr. DeVello spearheaded that whole movement, and it's really been a success, and it seems very welcomed by students, administration, faculty, everyone across the board. So thank you for commenting on that. Okay, so moving on to Western. Did you want to, Tom, did you want to comment on that, on the meeting at the JOC, or Christina?
Briefly, the meeting in January was really our reorganization meeting. There were a number of new board members who had joined the Western Montgomery Career and Technical Center, including myself, Mrs. Zazowski, and Mr. DeVello. So short of that, there was also a presentation for a trip that had been taken by some of the automotive students to Las Vegas, which was, a phenomenal experience, some great presentations and great information, and the things that we do continue to help foster the ability to continue to expand the programming there. Just of note, keep in mind that enrollment is still open, and things are starting to pick up in terms of interest, but the programs that are out at Western Center are just absolutely outstanding, and certainly are worth looking into and exploring for students entering 9th and 10th grade.
Thank you. That's very true. Mr. DeBello and I were there for a good portion of the meeting and then had to go to another location, but there wasn't, it was mostly the reorg and the presentation about the students that had gone to that conference in Las Vegas. And what's interesting is that their experiences were once in a lifetime too, kind of similar but different than the experiences our band students had at the Peach Bowl. But it's nice to see different pockets of students getting to different places and having these incredible opportunities of a lifetime. And they'll hold on to those memories forever. So it really is a great opportunity. So that next meeting will be the first Monday of the month in February at JOC. Okay, anybody else? Comments or questions about that first meeting at JOC for this year? All right, Mr. Schaefer, do you want to talk to us about PSBA?
Well, I would love to. So in early January, I contacted PSBA and let them know that I am the official liaison for the school system. And I did hear a lot of people laughing on the other end. I'm not quite sure why. That was a joke. Apparently not a good one. So what that means, what's that? No. Is that I will be, of course, providing timely and important updates. And as the representative for the Spring-Ford School Board, I am now subscribed to the Liaison Insider. Must have taken them a long time to come up with that title. And I also receive daily emails on updates. And so I look forward to, I'm expecting my first Liaison Insider this week. So for the February meeting, I look forward to sharing those exciting sound bites with you. All right? Any questions?
Well, just a comment. I know that Dr. Gooden and I have spoken, and we're just trying to keep some extra eyes on the call for applications so that Spring-Ford can present at the,
At both of your
at the
direction,
PSBA
I did
conference.
ask. The announcements for those categories and the time frame will be coming out, they said end of January, so that should be a part of my update in February. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Schaefer? Okay, Mrs. Melton with legislative.
The Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, Montgomery County School District Legislative Committee met on Wednesday, January 14th at MCIU in Norristown. A couple just quick notes. The House reconvened last Tuesday, the 21st, Session dates are the 21st, 22nd, and then they will reconvene February 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Senate reconvened today, and their session dates were 27th, 28th, 29th, and then February 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Couple things that are happening. There was a bipartisan school property tax work group that came out with 5 proposals. Again, these are just ideas, thoughts, ways to try to reduce property taxes. There's some talk, again, it being an election year, that we will continue to hear more and more about how to reduce or eliminate property tax. It's certainly going to be something that will continue to come up. We've seen this every 2 years consistently, and so not sure what we'll see come out of it, if anything, but there were 5 proposals that were presented. Reminder for the board, advocacy dates, our Advocacy Day in Harrisburg on March 23rd, legislative breakfast at the MCIU in Norristown on March 27th. The Special Education Funding Formula Commission had requested an extension until April 30th to produce their final report and recommendations on special education funding, so stay tuned. That was originally due in November. Also, Governor Wolf came out in, I guess, around January 3rd, I believe, with a mental health initiative. No funding has been discussed in terms of how it'll be supported. It's called Reach Out PA, Your Mental Health Matters, and there are really 5 key elements: strengthening mental health care access, combating mental health stigma, increasing support and proactive resources for children and young adults, and preparing state agencies and workers to help and reach out. Probably key, excuse me, key within that is with regards to increasing the number of highly qualified social workers trained to work in our schools, evaluating how to ensure every school district can provide full-time counselor, social worker, and nurse, and coordinating and expanding upon ongoing efforts in the Commonwealth to address adverse childhood experiences and implement more traumatic-informed approaches in education. Again, nothing specific with regards to funding in this area, but these are some of the initiatives that Governor Wolf has put forth. Governor Wolf's budget address is scheduled for Tuesday, February 4th. It's unclear what funding, again, will be included for these mental health initiatives. Also unclear what will be proposed for basic education, special education, career and technical education. But again, we do expect some kind of provisions for districts to combat aging schools. It's something that we're seeing across the state with districts experiencing issues within the buildings, whether it be lead paint, asbestos, et cetera, and looking for remediation strategies. And so the governor last year did include a provision to assist with that within his budget. It did not move anywhere, so we expect to see something there. Couple bills that were signed since our last meeting. House Bill 97, which is now Act 93, just expands the definition of tobacco product to include vaping and e-cigarette products, makes it unlawful to sell electronic nicotine delivery systems to minors. It defines summary offenses, also allows school boards to designate outside smoking areas on campus that are a specific distance, at least away from the doors. Our district has decided to continue to remain smoke-free. I don't see any changes expected there. This bill actually, Act 93, was signed on November 27th and was effective 60 days after, so that was yesterday. Right on the tail of that is Act 111 was Senate Bill 743. It really builds off of Act 93, and it increases the minimum legal age to purchase tobacco products from 18 to 21 years of age. That will be effective on July 1st. There is no language within the act specific to grandfathering, so if you're 18 and can smoke today, tomorrow you can't. So that is coming up. Also, House Bill 49, we've talked a lot about within the group within these meetings, and that did reauthorize school police officers to exercise the same powers as exercised under the authority of law or ordinance by the police of the municipality in which the school is located. Also spoke directly to training requirements for armed and unarmed security guards and school resource officers, and also expanded course option for students to gain credit for financial courses that they may take outside of the district. Other than that, the other key item just to keep an eye on, House Bill 355, which was the cyber charter reform. And that was focused really more on the ethics requirements. That was on schedule for third consideration on the Senate floor today. I do not know what the outcome of that vote was. If it did pass Senate today, then it will be delivered to Governor Wolf. Other items just to be aware of, the changes to the educator evaluation system, something we expected to have passed in November, did not push through. From what we understand, it's being held up, kind of being held ransom at this point for some other back and forth negotiations. But we do expect that to move forward. Also, Senate Bill 850, Community Integrated Schools, that was on the floor today for third consideration. Probably the only other one that I just really want to highlight is the cyber charter reform, which would require districts to offer cyber charter ed program for 2021-22 school year, in-house, IU, or third party, as well as offering 2 additional programs through a third party. And at this point, all of the cyber charter programs would go away that currently exist, and then third-party programs could be could operate. There was actually a hearing on January 21st with regards to that bill, and that bill had been proposed by Representative Sonny. PSBA did address that bill specifically with concerns with regards to accessibility to internet connectivity, planning and reporting requirements requiring additional resources. It includes additional unfunded mandates requiring 2 alternative programs from third-party vendors, and course options and levels could force districts to pay for courses with too few enrollees that may not be feasible to offer online. There's a lot more, but that's the update, and I apologize, but it's been 2 months. And we're getting into the budget.
That's a lot of information.
We're getting into the budget season, so a lot of things are starting to move back and forth fairly quickly at this point. We'll see, I'll give you this if you give me that. So.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
So one of the bills, Christina, that you didn't mention was House Bill 1069, and I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's probably something that we need to become familiar with, because it was a bill that was unanimously passed in the House. And anytime a bill is unanimously passed in the House, it generally has to do with how school boards need to interact, because they're very good at trying to continue to govern what we do. But it's pretty intense as far as meeting agendas, when they have to be posted, and also what actions can be taken if there's something, or actions that can't be taken if there's something that you want to bring up at a meeting that may not be on the agenda. So I think that's something we need to...
I've heard of iterations of this proposed bill, which, for instance, in the form of collective bargaining, we could not vote on a collective bargaining agreement unless it stands public review for I've heard up to 2 weeks. And that's obviously, that goes against everything that state labor law dictates. So it would be interesting if these types of initiatives could comport with what are the other requirements of state law.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. It's something that now the update that I got from down at the IU said that the House bill passed, but I don't believe that was accurate. It just came out of committee, but it didn't pass at the House.
Yeah, there are a number of bills. Tom, I didn't bring those forward this evening. Anything that only passed through committee, I held on to because
I
we have
understand.
so many moving right now.
I understand, but this is one that we really need to be aware of, because it will have an impact on potentially how, school boards will do business moving forward.
Does that then go into your report for MCIU?
No, that was legislative.
Right. Do you have a report for MCIU tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, please. I thought you were segueing into that with that other.
No, that was during legislative, so that's why I was asking that question.
Please, you're on tap.
So the IU was typical, normal business as usual. There's a couple main things that are going on that I'll briefly talk about. One is, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the executive chair, Dr. George, has decided to retire from running and managing the IU. He's moving on to a newer position that he'll be responsible for, I'm not quite sure what the right word is, but he'll be overseeing or sitting on as a coordinator of all the IUs in the state of Pennsylvania. So it's a pretty big move for him. It's like I've been talking for the last year or so, a lot of good things have been coming out of the MCIU, and that's just one other piece of it. The other thing is that we have the expansion, not expansion, but the upgrade that's going on, or facelift, or whatever you want to call it, at the IU, the original IU building that we were at before we moved down into Norristown. We're using that building for early intervention and other initiatives or programs at that building. It's, I think it's, I forget the actual number, $10 million or $12 million upgrade of the building. What was frustrating to me was that, and I think I need to send Robert Hunter in, because they put forward like $30,000 in change orders. And I was the only one that pushed back on it. And I didn't make the November meeting, and I found out that we're up to $90,000 in change orders. We're a third of the way through the project, and we have about $320,000 in contingency. So we pretty much burned through more than a third of, or close, almost a third of our contingency. And like I said, what was amazing to me was I was the only one that showed concern that why are we accepting these change orders, because I didn't believe any of them. In fact, I put them on notice that I won't be approving anymore. They want change orders because they inspected the building, they did an architectural overview of the building, they put an engineering report together of the building, and then when they open up a ceiling, they want to sit there and, which they were in the ceiling, and now they're adding on to things that they said they didn't see. And I tried to explain that that's not our problem. But obviously, I don't have Robert Hunter there. But we'll be keeping a very close eye on that. And I'm sure next month will be a little contentious because I think they're in this rhythm now of just bringing change orders in. And I won't be approving them.
All right, any questions on Mr. DeBella's report? Okay. Dr. Gooden, Superintendent's report?
Thank you. As Juliana mentioned, this week, Spring-Ford is participating in the Great Kindness Challenge. The Great Kindness Challenge is a proactive and positive bullying prevention initiative that improves school climate and increases student engagement. The Great Kindness Challenge is 1 week devoted to performing as many acts of kindness as possible on campus. In using a checklist, a kindness checklist, students accept the challenge and show the world that kindness matters. This year, we've expanded the challenge to our faculty and staff members with a specially curated Spring-Ford checklist. We provided checklists for our board members to participate as well. So I encourage you to take a few minutes this week to spread some simple acts of kindness, from something as small as holding the door at Wawa, to thanking your mail carrier to clear the snow or ice off a coworker's car, should winter weather ever catch up with us. So that's the end of my report.
Okay, well, questions for Dr. Gooden? Comments? Such as we hope the winter weather doesn't catch up with us. So, okay. Moving on to Mr. Fitzgerald, do you have a solicitor's report for us tonight?
I do briefly. As you recall from last Tuesday evening, we had a pretty good discussion with regard to the schedule for policy reviews over the next several months, if not years, as it relates to reviewing all of our policies. Well, sure enough, on, I think, Thursday of last week, the school district received from what I would describe as a public interest law firm called Independence Law Center. Questions with regard to a student expressions policy of ours, 220, and claims that it is overly restrictive. The policy that we have in place is from 2005. It's a PSBA policy. Springford was one of hundreds of school districts that received the same letter that day, whether it be from Policy 220 or a separate Policy 913, all with regard to expression-related concerns. In some discussions internally, there are later iterations of Policy 220, and we're going to review those and determine what the best course of action. But you were not alone. Many districts received this same correspondence that day, so we will keep you posted on that.
Great, thank you for that. I believe we will be addressing that in our policy meeting February 10th.
That is correct. We have an updated draft just about ready for you.
Perfect, I knew you would. Okay. Okay, so we can move now into the minutes. The minutes would be from the November work session and board meeting, and also the reorg meeting in December. So A through C, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, personnel, A through I. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Finance, A through P. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Property, A. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Programming and curriculum.
Separate A. Sorry, go ahead.
Separate A and B.
Yes.
Okay. So C. Is there a motion for C?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
On A.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, A and B. We have two items for approval, but
Microphone.
we have two items for approval. However, we have two items that we're asking for approval where the solicitor has not completed their review.
I think it's contingent upon the pending review by the solicitor's office. Both items.
But it's not complete. So we don't know if there are going to be issues from the solicitor's office. And I don't think we should be, we have a legal representation for a reason. And I think we should wait until the review is complete before we move forward with the approval.
And just to speak to that concern, there was discussion last week with regard to our contractual status with this organization. Frankly, if there's further discussion that needs to be had with regard to why that provision is in there, I'd prefer if we have that discussion in executive session. This motion, though, would move forward the authorization. However, we would still be in contact with the vendor to see if changes to the current master service agreement could be made. So this would still provide flexibility to negotiate terms otherwise.
But why would we move forward with this when we don't know what your review will be or what the potential comments could be back from the vendor?
Well, and that was part of our discussion. So that would have to occur, I think, in the back room for my thoughts on that.
I had the same concern as Clinton. I thought this was going to be ironed out by this week.
No,
So I might have misunderstood last week.
Yes.
But
again,
for this kind of money, I can support, and I know the reasons, I just can't support us, approving something like this without because I don't know where it's going to go, so I'm sorry.
My understanding is we have a master service agreement that was put in place in 2016 for this company. Does this service fall under that?
Yes, it would. I mean, that's what I would rather discuss in the back.
Well, it shouldn't be on the agenda for approval.
We had executive session on this last week, Clinton. That's why it was carried forward, I think.
We had an executive session on this back in November. And here we are 2 months later and still not resolved.
We did have executive session in November, and at that point, I think there were just way too many questions. So many more questions were answered, and some of that was flushed out in terms of the nuts and bolts of the services to be provided in the exec session that we had last week. But even though that language is here in the exec session, right, even though that language is here, that the approval is contingent upon the pending review by the solicitor's office, and I know that it's important that we get this service in place and that we get that contract piece worked out. It is a lot of money to ask us to vote on.
Let's be very clear. The contingency here is that there are some revisions that we would seek in the master service agreement. We have a master service agreement that is candidly binding on the district dating back to 2016. This was, frankly, we were put on notice of that in the days before our last board meeting, so this is about 10 days old. This motion provides the flexibility to seek changes to the master service agreement while moving forward the authorization. That was the point. We actually did discuss that in terms of what was occurring last week.
As I said, I totally recall and remember what was discussed last week. I thought we would be in a different position where we are this week. That's my comment. And I don't need to be sitting at this table and people trying to convince me to vote on something. So either we go in exec session and talk about this or take the vote.
Can we table this and put it on the February agenda?
If there's a desire to table, then we would have to seek if there's a motion to table. A motion to table will shut down discussion on the topic. We have to see if there's a second to a tabling motion.
Well, we need a first.
Well, I'm viewing
Yes.
that as a motion to table.
Motion to table until February.
Second.
Okay. So there will be no further discussion. It'll be now on a motion to table.
Can we schedule an exec session?
Absolutely.
So can we have that after this meeting tonight? I'd rather do that than wait all the way till March.
No.
Or February, rather. February? Okay. Before the February work session.
Nothing has changed. Yeah.
Yeah, that, absolutely. I mean, that's your prerogative in terms of having.
So these two items will be tabled until February, per the motion that just passed.
No, you have to vote on the tabling motion.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Okay, so we will table the discussion of these two items until February and meet for an exec session prior to the work session in February.
And just to be clear, the issues that remain outstanding with the master service agreement are such things as indemnification provisions, confidentiality, and the like. I mean, these are things that we certainly can go back to this vendor on, but they notified us specifically of a binding MSA in place under the circumstances.
So they may or may not accept your recommendations or the changes that you suggest, correct?
I would.
So, did we table this or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just need to stop talking. So.
All right, moving on then. I think we already did C, so we'll go to conference and workshops, A through L. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
We are constantly approving staff and administration to make these trips, and I go through and I look at them, and a couple of them have jumped out to me, and I'm not the smartest guy in the world, so hopefully my questions can be answered. On the item H, Dr. Patchke. Okay. I spend a lot of time in New York and at Columbia University. Is there any reason this Is this program nowhere else in the Commonwealth?
Not only that, Mr. Jackson,
Let
but I
me-
had questions about it last week, too, just even the subject matter of it. And that was one of the reasons I think that Mr. Rizzo included in the board memo a little bit of the explanation of what that training is about. But to your question, if there was something closer, other than going all the way to Columbia, it would be more economical, for sure.
I mean, what was in the memo was a sales brochure. Because I look at all the other trips, everything is in the Commonwealth. So is there something special about this program if it's not presented anywhere in the Commonwealth? Is this the only place where it's presented? I mean, I know Columbia has a great teaching department up there, but is there a particular reason why we're going to New York for this trip? I mean, for this program?
I don't know where else this could be offered. I know at this time, in the summertime, it's the closest that these two authors will be to do this presentation. Dr. Patchke is paying for her transportation and her lodging. This is for the registration for the actual conference itself. Yeah, philosophically, there's a lot of different options in terms of leadership training that we can go to. Teachers, administrators are required to get continuing ed credits, Act 45, and this is an opportunity to do something that aligns with helping all of our district employees grow a little bit. So that was the inspiration behind it. I know you know that. I know you know about the Act 45 and Act 48. This is just an opportunity that she brought to me, and I thought this is a good opportunity to bring back and share with our administrative staff, which then would pay forward to our building staff.
Okay, I still struggle with this, but I appreciate the explanation.
Do you struggle just out of curiosity because she's paying for the transportation? So if it were across the street, it's still no additional cost to the district?
You know, I've looked at the title, so I struggle with the title. I struggle with us going to New York. All of our teachers primarily come from the Commonwealth, correct? Is there anything special about going to Columbia? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I think I think the world's a little bit bigger than just Pennsylvania for professional development, though.
We all do professional development, right? My question is, why New York? That's all I'm asking. And if you're asking me to approve a cost, be able to answer my question.
They're nationally recognized authors and presenters, and that's just where they are for that conference. I mean, nothing special about New York per se, just that's where they are.
Okay.
Okay, back to conferences and workshops then. Do I have a motion for A through L? I don't think I didn't. What's that? You want to separate H?
We currently have a motion for A through L. Mrs. Melton made the motion, Mrs. Earl made the second. So we currently have that.
Our discussion on that is to separate H out.
We already have the motion.
You already have a motion.
We have the,
Who made the original motion?
I did.
Okay,
And it was
are you
second.
okay with a friendly amendment to the motion to remove H, and we would take the entirety of that section minus H?
Yes, we need to use the mic when we speak.
What?
I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah, what? Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so we're going to have a friendly amendment, and it is remove H, or was it H, or, yes, H, and then we'll take the remainder of those items, then we'll take H separately.
okay, so A through L, we have a motion and we have a second.
And H has been
We're
removed.
going to separate H.
Correct.
And then we're going to do H separately.
Correct.
Do we have a motion for H?
Well, we're just going to do A through L.
We're going to finish A through L first.
Yes, yes.
We're going to finish A through L without H. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, sorry, I just couldn't get to that last part. Okay, H, do we have a motion for H?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Do you have that, Diane? Okay, so it does pass. Okay, moving on to other business, A through D. A, B, and D. What's wrong with C? Oh, gosh, okay. All right, I had that. Okay, A, B, and D. Do we have a motion for A, B, and D?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I just have one question on policy 818, contracted services. I noted that there is no provision, so the policy itself is written to say these are the provisions that should be included in our contracts. One of the provisions I did not see in that was an audit provision allowing Springford Area School District to audit a third party to ensure that background checks, child abuse have been done. So we should have the option to notify a vendor that we want to see these 5, the records for these 5 or evidence that these 5 employees and periodically do those audits. 10, 20, however many, I mean, whatever it is.
Most of that is required by law already. That's required by Section 111.
So that's not, so we don't have to include that in the policy?
Correct.
then?
If it's
I
a
just wanted to
requirement of law,
understand why it
then
wasn't
that's mandatory on us with contractors.
Right, okay,
And they know that expectation.
okay.
Okay, so do we have a motion for A, B, and D? We have a second? We already voted. We're good with that?
We haven't voted.
We have to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're going to just move on and finish this out. Informational items, A and B.
So moved.
There's nothing to move?
We don't vote. They're just items. Any comment on those? Okay, any,
Comment on
on, yeah, A or B?
I think that it's important that we recognize Oaks Elementary Parent-Teacher Association for their generous gift of $15,000. I know we mentioned it last week, but as we're going through the agenda tonight as well, I should bring it up. And the monies that they hope to use, those monies for robotics and some other things reading specialists could use, and things within the listening centers and book bins and all that. So it's really a great gift, and we appreciate what all the Holman schools do within our school district, helping with purchasing much-needed items as well. So thank you very much to Oaks, Oaks PTO, whatever you want to call it.
Is that just for use at Oaks?
Holman School. Well, I am. It's been a long day, I'm telling you.
Okay, yes, thank you to the Oaks Elementary Parent-Teacher Association and to all of our parent-teacher associations for everything they do for our students all the time. Board comment, I think Dr. Gooden has something, but before he does, I did want to announce that we did have an exec session after our meeting last week, so I just wanted to include that there, and do you want to go forward?
And just add, and that was on security-based issues.
Yes, it was, thank you.
First of all, we have many retirements this year, and our professional staff, those retirements equate to 261 years of service for the folks that are retiring. So we certainly appreciate all their years of service and everything they've done for the district. Also, one of the motions we had, we were in the process of, we've been developing our police department, and one of the things that we've done is we've created a position of lieutenant. And tonight, what we'd like to do is invite Chief Boyer up, along with Officer Phillips, now soon to be, or now Lieutenant Phillips, and she's going to come forward, and we're going to pin her lieutenant bars on, and I believe her folks are here to be with her, and I think she has the support of her fellow officers. So if you folks can come up. Chief?
Hello, everybody. Again, Dave Boyer, Chief of the Police here. This is my crew, my team, and tonight we're here to celebrate some things here. Tonight marks another beginning in our agency's success. Thanks for your support again. And after tonight, Officer Phillips will no longer be Officer Phillips, will be Lieutenant Phillips, my second in command. A quick vitae about Gwen that a lot of people may not know. She's a graduate from Temple University. She's got her BA there, a master's degree from St. Joe's. Go Hawks. She just recently went to and got our state-mandated NASRO school basic police officer training we had to get done. She was an ace there. Before she came here, she was a Springfield police officer and had a lot of experience there between 2004 and 2012. And then she's been here at Springford making this grow more and more and more to make us basically the flagship for what school policing ought to be in Pennsylvania. And that's why we keep trying to raise the bar with your help again. And she's been here since 2014. When I first got here, I identified her as being really squared away, and we have our same mission, to try to keep the kids as safe as we can and our staff so that we can have a good atmosphere here to keep having these excellent things happen. And automatically, figured out that she was going to be a good leader. So I made her DOIC in charge of all the high school operations so I could get around to all the satellites and get everything done. So again, I'm proud and happy to have Gwen up here at the podium. And again, if her mom and dad could come up here, Mr. and Mrs. Bondi. It's customary in the police service, especially with municipal government and with the state, that when someone leaves as an officer standard and moves up to command status, they have their loved ones come up, the people that support them the most, and we call it a pinning, basically. So again, no pressure here. Go ahead. Your dad like a pro. Get your tourniquet. Jam them through there. There you go. The plastic thing there, you can jam it around it. There you go. This is the time to vet. There you go. There you go. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Lieutenant Gwen Phillips for the Springford School Police. Mr. and Mrs. Biondi, I'd like to thank you very much. Obviously, you made a great person. You're a great leader. Kids love her. I mean, I don't know how many times you've been a recipient of a senior award. I don't know if I'll ever get that, but you can keep doing that for me. That's great. And again, I wish you the best of luck with all your new responsibilities. So, you want to go on and say congratulations, everybody?
Thank you. I really appreciate the support of the school board, Dr. Gooden, Chief Boyer. I would not have ever dreamed that in 2014, when I started this position, that it would turn into what we have now. And what we do and what my team does is purely for you guys, and we're here for our students. And we love you so much, and we appreciate you, and we're just really happy to be a part of your school experience. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
So, to that, I was going to ask you, because you were our second officer hired, right?
Yes.
Right, because you worked with Bill for a little bit, right?
Correct.
And before we brought in Dave? So
Yes, and Jason Kropolis, too.
Oh, right, that's right, Jason was, right.
Yeah.
So, you're right, I mean, I remember back when we started this, back in 2000, we had Bill, and then we started having this vision of what our Springford Police was going to look like and what we were trying to grow. And when, when you were brought in, obviously it was a great addition to the foundation and the start of what we see today. And I mean, I know I'm very excited for you this evening because this has been a long run with you for, 6 years now. But like I said, you were there on the ground floor. And as Chief Boyer said, for the amount of recognition that you get from the students. 4 times you received the Impact Award, or 3 times? 3 times, which is incredible. So thank you for everything that you do. And I do want to recommend that you need to keep a very close eye on the one officer, the third from the right over there. Just saying. I won't look over, but look, they're all counting. Which way? Which way? But no, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I hope I say this on behalf of all of us, but when we're looking to do that PSBA conference, I hope that you'll be a part of that, especially since you've been here since this all started and came together. And I'm sure you've been instrumental in helping it to grow and to shape it. So we'd really want you to be a part of that.
I would love that. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Congratulations. Take care.
All right, public to be heard?
Wait a minute.
Before we do that,
Good board comment?
Oh, sorry.
Because you said
Yes,
board comment. And then
more
Dr.
board
Gooden-
comment.
right.
Anybody else, board
Yeah,
comment?
when we got to the resignations, I would have hoped that we would have took a breather for a second and recognized, and there is a list of many teachers that are retiring there. The list is long, and unfortunately, I don't want to go down each one, but you know, what makes Spring-Ford great is our professional staff is a huge piece of that. And, you know, over the years, we've had many teachers that have joined Spring-Ford, I don't want to date them, but many years ago, and they were anxious to really mold our students for what they have over the years. And what all their hard work is definitely demonstrated by all the success and achievements that we here at Spring-Ford have received and all the recognition and all that. So I want to, you know, congratulate all the teachers that are retiring on retiring. I know we all look forward to that day. And I'm sure they will be sorely missed. And it's sad to see them go, but on the flip side, I'm like I said, we're happy for them, you know, going on to the next phase of their life. So thank you for all of them as well. And just a couple other things that I wanted to bring up from a board perspective. I think that, because I'm tired of hearing about this in the community and talking with parents and all that, we need to make a decision on a couple of things as a board of what we're going to do moving forward. One of them is the early start time. Either we move to the next phase of whatever that may be, which I believe we talked about doing a parent survey. We're also seeing that school districts like O&J pulled back on the reins. There was a huge blowout in Lower Marion as well, so things may not be going as well as some of the school districts have liked them to go, but I think that we either move forward with investigating or doing something with it, or we put it to bed. The other thing, same thing, because I'm tired of hearing about this as well, is the full-day kindergarten. Either we figure out if we have the capacity or anything that we want to do, which I think we had a really excellent presentation in October and about what the costs will be and all that. But again, there's a lot of conversation as far as what Spring-Ford doing with full-day kindergarten, and obviously none of this has to be discussed this evening. I'm just saying that these are ticklers that we need to, as a board, either do something or take a position and that. And the last thing is, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but I will, because since the school calendar was such a hot topic and leaked information out to the community, now what's being propagated out there is all this half-day school, or whatever you want to call it, half school days. It's parents and that are being, I don't know what the word I want to use, but we as a board, I mean, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons related to half school days. That's, for those that don't know what that is, that's where the students go to school for a half a day, and then there's a half a day of professional development with spread out throughout the school year. Again, we as a board, we need to make a determination on if and how we want to proceed forward with any of those things.
I want to follow up on that, Mr. Bello. I think the board, we cannot govern this board by social media.
Oh, I know that. I'm not, I'm just.
No, I know. If there are issues to parents, you know, there's a microphone there, there's access throughout the school, throughout the district to communicate their concerns. I really see us going down this rabbit hole of reacting to social media, and there's nothing good's going to come out of that.
I totally agree, and I don't want, I'm not, and I think, I don't know if you're agreeing with what I'm saying, but I'm not saying we should react to social media. What I'm saying is that we as a board need to, these are big topics, and we as a board need to either say we're not going to discuss it, we're tabling, we're not going to have future conversations about it, or we need to take the next steps towards these things. So I'm just saying, like I said, these are tickler items, but as my feeling is that we need to come to conclusion on these topics.
So two of the items that you mentioned, Mr. DeBello, the early school start and the full-day kindergarten are two items that came up frequently during the campaigning and the election time. And those are things that I don't know that we've had that opportunity to discuss. And while that takes place, whether it's, you know, at a work session or behind doors, there are two things that I think that some of us would like that opportunity to maybe catch up and discuss where we're going with that. And I think that both of them, at least the early start time, I know, was brought up at the podium. The other one, the full-day kindergarten, I'm not sure if that was or not. So I don't know how we proceed with having that discussion. The half-day school days, I know that's also, I haven't heard that so much being brought up, but the other two.
So
As for the kindergarten,
I want to just respond because, again, what campaign promises are made, I don't really care about. And the second thing is that the other thing is that we don't discuss things like this behind closed doors. So if there's something that needs to be brought up at the board table, that's fine. That's the point I'm making, is that either we are going to talk about this and either decide how we want to proceed forward or not proceed forward. But I don't want this stuff hanging out there. That's the point. And I don't want to, like I said, we don't have to discuss it this evening. I'm just saying that I want to figure out what we want to do as a board and then put it to bed.
Yeah, there are two great topics, well, three great topics, but you know, the first two specifically. In terms of the half-day versus full-day kindergarten, I actually would like to propose that we delay that conversation until after the feasibility study is completed, and then we'll have a better idea of what we're looking at in terms of populations, what the need would be in terms of any future expansions or new buildings, because at this point, I think we would be beginning discussions without having all of the information. So I would propose that we just kind of push that one off a little bit. I think, if I remember correctly, Mr. DeBello, you had shared it would probably be a few months in last week's meeting. So I think that that would probably be a good time to then reevaluate and start having that, beginning that thought process again once we have a better idea of what our resources are available to us.
I think
we're
that makes
targeting
sense.
end of March, Ms. Mellon.
Okay.
For that information to draft it will be presented to the board at that time.
Okay.
And one shouldn't drive the other. So if we could start conversations, we don't start conversations, I don't care. All I'm saying is that we need to put this on the table as a board and figure out how we're going to, how and when we want to have these conversations, because it's just going to linger. And
Well, may I ask, I mean, there could be a large litany of topics that might linger. So why are we pushing to get things off the lingering? Like, if, I mean, first of all, I'm not hearing administration drive any of these conversations yet. No, I'm new. So to me, that should be the driving force, my personal opinion.
These were things that we discussed last year, and there seems to be continued conversations around them. So what I'm saying is either we, as a board, because our duty is to govern the district, so we as a board can sit here and say, we're not doing full-day kindergarten for the next 5 years. I don't care. All I'm saying is, let's say something. That's all I'm saying.
I
think
think
we
these
did say
topics haven't
something.
been brought up. I mean, to the extent.
I think we did say something when Dr. Gooden did the presentation about the full-day kindergarten, and the board hasn't given any further directive from that point. We haven't received any further directive from administration. We haven't given any further directive to revisit that once we had that presentation in August. If it comes up again in discussions and we direct the board differently, or we receive some kind of recommendation from the administration, then maybe at that point we act on that to further evaluate if we have a need for that and how it would look for us to fulfill it.
Okay, so I'm bringing it up.
I like the idea of information gathering. You know, let's take a look at the feasibility study, maybe look into what our administrators have to say about it, since they are the experts on this field. And as far as campaign promises, there was not campaign promises. That was information that was brought to some of the school board members when out talking to the community and the public. These were things that interested them. So certainly that would be reasonable that they would then be brought to the board.
Okay, I don't think, but correct me if I'm wrong, we're not going to talk about campaign issues or anything like that at the table. We're going to move on from that point and not.
I agree with Mr. Okay, let's try to pull back and focus. I agree with Mr. Schaefer. Also agree with Mr. Bello. When I look at, these are major issues that will take a long time to evaluate and implement. So I understand what Mr. Bello is saying. If we're going to move on this, we need to get started. I understand what Mr. Schaefer is saying. We need some direction from, or more information from the administration. So at some point, we need to do something.
Doing something isn't doing anything. So is there some process for things like this? I mean, who starts this? Is it the administration? Is it, a lot of it is going to be budgetary, but I mean, just saying, let's talk about it and not scheduling it or doing anything is doing nothing.
No, I totally disagree with that. I think you need to understand the definition of what the requirements are to implement these programs. This is very long-term, Mr. Earl. It's very long-term. And when I say we need to do something, back to what Mr. DeBello has made reference to, either we start talking about it or we table it. Those are the two options.
Well, I agree. So talking about it's doing something.
Unless there's a directive from the board, Dr. Gooden, correct me, there's not going to be any further discussion, exploratory research, whatever, regarding any of these topics, unless the board as a whole directs for that to happen.
Let me be very clear. Back in August, I did do a presentation in which we looked at the possibility of, or what some of the issues involving full-day kindergarten would be in the district. We did look at the number of additional staff we would need, along with the costs, and we also took a look at the additional space that would be required, space that we don't have at present to implement full-day kindergarten. So that was discussed in August. As far as the later start time, I have included in the weekly memo my proposal that we would put out a brief survey to the community to gauge interest on the issue of pushing back our start times K through 12. And I am taking the couple comments that I've heard from the board as that the board is okay with me sending that out to the community and giving the community some information and getting some input from them as far as an interest in pushing back start time. So those are two issues that we have at least begun to address. As far as half days, you know, that's kind of circled into the question of professional development. It's also circled into the opportunity to shorten the length of our school calendar. And I think before we start looking at cutting instructional days for our students, we really need to, if we want to shorten up the calendar, we really need to look at some of the days that we have off throughout the school year, which indeed impact the length of time that the time that we're in school. So those are, you know, those three issues, that's where we're at right there.
Okay, so as I started off with my comment, I didn't want to get into discussion about that this evening. All I said was, these are 3 things that we need to put a tickler on for the board as we go through 2020 to make a determination on how and if, again, let me repeat that, how and if we should proceed forward on these things, yes or no. Wendy, to answer your question, you're a board member. If you want to bring something up at the board table during board comment, this is when you do it. So if there's something that you like to have the board look at or agree to have administration look at, that's when you bring it up, because nobody actually answered your question. So that's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that these are 3 things that, as a board, at some point, we could say we're not interested in it, or whatever it is, but it seems like they're in this chasm of just sitting out there. And some things are being communicated out to the public in whatever avenues, and there will be a lot of questions. So,
What things are being communicated to the public? I mean, maybe this is...
Again, there are 3 things: full day kindergarten, early start, or changing the start time, and half day, whatever you want to call it, half school days, whatever they're being called. So these are 3 big topics that this board will be confronted with. And again, I agree with Mr. Jackson, or I'm not saying that I want to respond to every social media. I don't do that. All I'm saying is that these are 3 big things that are lingering out there that we as a board have to take a position, because there's a lot of topic and there's a lot of conversation that Spring-Ford's changing, Spring-Ford not changing, Spring-Ford's doing full day kindergarten. It's just all this stuff, and it's just like, let's just take a position and promote it and live with it.
Okay, well, taking all that into consideration, let's have a discussion about 1 or more of these in February. As for now, is there any other board comment this evening? Public to be heard?
Hello, my name's Dennis Reese. I live in Upper Providence Township. I have 2 children, or have 2 children, that both graduated from Spring-Ford. And, this being School Board Appreciation Night, I think Dr. Gooden's comments were good. I come to many school board meetings, work session meetings, and committee meetings. So for the last 3 or 4 years, I've seen the workings. And I just want to acknowledge the time and the thought that each of you put into it. And I think that's what you've all asked for. You've also asked for the controversy that comes with it and the debate that comes with it. And, I look out here in the audience, I don't see many citizens. That's unfortunate. I wish there were more. But I think the school board does a good job. I've not always agreed, and I've expressed myself when I didn't agree. And I always had comments back, and I appreciate that as well. I think the administration has done a very good job. I go to various school districts for different activities, and our schools are impeccable. You cannot ask for better facilities. And Mr. Hunter, coming from the School District of Philadelphia, certainly could tell us all horror stories, but that's not my point. The school board has done a great job. The administration has done a great job. And, we see the video of the of the expansion, the enthusiasm. I would be remiss if I did not stand here and say the taxpayers of Spring-Ford School District, which I know each of you board members are taxpayers, they too have done an excellent job. And sometimes, we talk about the school board, we talk about the administration. The taxpayers, at the end of the day, are the ones that make this train run. That's my comments for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Okay. Any other public comment or public to be heard tonight? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Zimmerman? No?
Second? All in favor? Aye, aye.